All right, we are live. Hello, everyone. This is the first ever Gimlet office hours, where you can get some updates on Gimlet development news, and I will do some demos, and you can ask questions in the comment section below. And this is the very first time. I'm scared as hell. It's not it's not a good experience to talk into the void and not having anybody on the other end, giving you feedback like visual or just like a look back at your face. So if you leave a comment, I will see that, and that will definitely help me through this first office hours. So today it's going to be three topics. I'd like to show you the Gimlet environment manifest file. I think you see that before, but if you have not, this is a good time to just get familiar with the concept. I'm also going to talk about OneChart. OneChart to rule them all. This is my Helm chart with generic application deployment needs. It should cover all the basic use cases, and I'm going to show that and discuss the limitations and how you can use that. And I'm actually going to use it today because I'm going to use OneChart with Gimlet to configure an environment and basically show you how to do your application manifests with these two tools. And today we are live on Twitter and YouTube. LinkedIn, we are not live because LinkedIn just doesn't authorize me yet to be like a video streamer. And so, hey, everyone, people who know me from Gimlet or some other tools I made, like the one-click info tool. And this is just a note for me. I think we have time, and I will try to be slow and thorough. So I think let's get started with the Gimlet environment manifest. So you have probably seen the Gimlet.io website, and this is where I put my documentation. I put some effort into these docs, and then try to level you up along your your Kubernetes learning path. And at the third item, I have the manifest file. And basically, this is a very core concept in Gimlet. The manifest file is a YAML file. It's an alternative, to the common Kubernetes YAMLs. Should be a lot shorter and more concise, and this really should contain only the parts that are changing from deployment to deployment. So no boilerplate in this one, except just a little thing, some boilerplate, pinning down the chart version. So it's using a Helm chart. You can use any Helm chart, and then you can also pin down the values you have in this for this Helm chart, and some other meta information like name, environment, and namespace. So I have this little folder here with the Gimlet staging YAML inside, and the concept is that you keep your Gimlet environment manifests within your application repository, because this is the place where developers come and change some stuff. Like if they want to change an environment variable, like the node env from production to staging or vice versa, this is the place where they can have control on the things that they should control. So nothing else, but all those things that they should control, like even their subdomains or their CNAMEs, they can control from within this from this file. So this is under the .gimlet folder /staging YAML, and the Gimlet CLI has some tooling interpreting this file. For example, one important CLI command is Gimlet manifest template, and if we run this one and feeding in our staging YAML, you can render your Gimlet manifest into common Kubernetes YAML. So if you are unsure about something, like how it's going to be deployed to Kubernetes, and you are familiar with the Kubernetes YAML format, or you are just curious, you can see how this is going to be fed into Kubernetes. Like in this case, I have a config map with the node environment variable I just set. I have a service, which is just some Kubernetes boilerplate basically, and the deployment, which has all the deployment spec. And yeah, you have also have it also has an ingress as well, which controls your domain name mapping basically. So there is the Gimlet manifest format. You have seen that. There is the Gimlet manifest template, which is a tool to render that manifest, whether you want to just debug, or actually you can use this in your CI, and you can even pipe it into kubectl apply and just fire it off to Kubernetes. There's another subcommand of the Gimlet manifest tool, which is create. So you are done with your staging efforts. So now you want to do some production stuff. And to do that, there's a little helper. You can, of course, copy your staging file and just tailor it or edit it. But you can also use Gimlet manifest create with some mandatory information like environment, namespace, and also the chart name. So again, the manifest file pins down the chart you are using. It in this case, it works from my local chart, Helm chart registry. So I have added the OneChart repo to my local registry, but you can also reference it by URL, or you can also use it. Use a private Helm chart, which I'm going to show maybe at a later office hours episode. So with this command, now we have a production YAML. It got the chart version from my local registry, and it has no values. So it's a clean slate for you to configure your production app. And again, this is in your application source code repo. And yeah, so I think I've already iterated through some of the benefits of having this file. Pins down everything. It's in the application source code repo. It's declarative. Things don't just scatter around, in CI pipelines or in other files. This is a very nice format, and actually other tools have similar formats as well. So this is really the way to do it. And you have tools to render and debug this manifest file. Now I have another tool that is OneChart. I had recently some buzz around it, so you may have known me or my Twitter through OneChart. So OneChart is a generic Helm chart. If I open the website, it tells basically, so this is the first stream. I'm going to just make my screen larger so you see more. Hope you are still with me. But by now, so this is OneChart. There is a catchy subtitle, OneChart to rule them all, but it's really made for that. It's basically capturing, the 20, 30 use cases that typical application deployments have, like, domain names, volumes, health checks, high availability, even some advanced stuff if you want to attach a debug sidecar container. And you can add it to your local Helm chart repository and just start playing around with it. For example, if I want to add volumes, usually, you have to look up the Kubernetes documentation, how to add volumes, and you find that basically you have to make modifications at 2 or 3 places in your Kubernetes deployment configuration. And the indentation, I always get it wrong at least 2 times before I'm able to make it deploy. So here is this alternative definition. I set an image and I set a volume. Actually, I can set multiple volumes because it's an array, but I set the things that are actually matter: the name, the mount path, the size, and the storage class for your cloud provider to actually put like a cloud volume underneath. And OneChart is just a pure Helm pure Helm thing, so it doesn't work with Gimlet in any way. So you can use the Helm tooling to actually write a values file, template it with Helm, and just inspect the output. And I'm actually going to do that. If I spit this out, actually not on my screen, but into a file so we can inspect, is basically it renders the application deployment just like before. And if you want to check out the volumes, it uses the name, and it creates also a persistent volume claim with the right size and the right storage class. So OneChart is a standalone component. You can use it. It even takes care of basic high availability things, like it adds you like a pod distribution budget, so your node maintenance will not harm your deployments in any unwanted ways. It also by default sets a pod anti-affinity rules, meaning pods will not be placed on the same node. So quite a few best practices, and I'm hoping to extend this into, to a nice set of, let's say, 30 best practices of the Kubernetes world. So you can use OneChart without any gimleting. So just go out and check it out. So this is OneChart. And actually, so you can use OneChart standalone, but Gimlet tries to make your life easier, your local development workflows. And remember that I talked about the Gimlet manifest. Like here is this production manifest, which has no values right now, and it's using OneChart. So there is a nice command called Gimlet manifest configure, which is doing actually quite a cool stuff. I like this feature a lot. So if you type Gimlet manifest configure and you feed in your production YAML, and the output will be also production YAML, so you basically update it in place. What it does is that it opens a browser tab on your laptop. So that's quite cool, I think, or I hope it's very useful. And our previously unconfigured application, don't use latest stack, guys. I just want to change the value. This production application will be configured like this, and I will also add the volume like before, but it's going to be 100 gigs, and it's going to be called data, and I'm going to use, let's say, Azure. So the storage class is going to be default. So, and I also maybe want to have the environment variable, the typical node env. I'm going to set it to production. And also the high availability, for example, I talked about it just before, are default by on. You can turn it off if you want to debug something, but basically it tries to promote some best practices. And the instruction here is if I close my browser, then it basically generated the values and actually wrote the values into the production YAML file. So if I come here, all the things I did for my production and environment configuration is right here. And I can just repeat this on and on forever if I want to have more replicas, less replicas, whatnot. So I close this again, and then come here, replicas is 5. So this is a nice workflow for you to edit your application environments in place within your source code. So that's sort of one key point I'd like to get through with Gimlet and OneChart, that you can have these nice little workflows. And again, you can run Gimlet manifest template, and I'm just hoping, actually I know that the production values that we have set are part of the YAML now. So we have, what did we set? The production has like container port 8080, and somewhere down here, yeah, the service has port 8080, and the deployment offers port 8080 right here, so that it has an HTTP port. So that's that. So the conclusion is that you can have a declarative manifest in your application repo that is capturing everything. And the manifest templating is with Helm, so it's really using industry standard tooling. You can opt out of this workflow if you want to at some point, or you can use this tooling that you have already used before. And if you don't have a starting point yet, you can always use OneChart, because it's going to get better and better. And you also have like this local manifest editing workflow with a UI. So I'm really hoping that this will speed up some developers' work who just don't want to fiddle with that many YAML, that much YAML, or with Helm values file documentation from GitHub. And actually, I touched this before, that the environment manifest can also handle other places than Helm repositories, so like a Git repos, even private Git repos, where it's going to be a typical use case, or actually it's a typical use case to start with OneChart, which is a Helm, which is a public chart, fork it, make it private, and add stuff that you want to have. Like if your engineers are working on Azure with buckets, then you can have a flag that is doing that is mounting in a bucket that you specify in your values file. And you can also have the UI rendered, which I'm going to show you at another occasion, probably next week, because all the Gimlet manifest configure features are using, again, standard data formats like the ham values, schema JSON file, and so on. So I'm going to show that next week. So that was rather quick. So you are probably good to go for your lunch, or if you had lunch already, have your coffee. I just want to give credit to two artists. I have took the video from Arvind from Pexels. This is a royalty-free video, just needs attribution. So I'm hoping to fulfill that by now. And I also got a nice stock music video from this site. It's called Band Sound. Yeah. All right. So I wasn't slow at all, but that was the first one. I hope you enjoyed it. And the next week we will be back with OneChart, forking, tailoring, and to add your company needs. So that's that. Gimlet. We touched environment manifests. We touched OneChart, and we have touched configuring an environment. So all my labels were not used, but here we go. So thanks for listening, and have a great day.